Hi everyone, I'm Karen Walsh of Karen's Pots and Glass. I'm a full-time high school ceramics teacher and a potter, and I am a maker of videos of pottery tutorials. Now, this video is going to show a little wheel that I got off of Amazon. A company actually sent this to me. I did not pay for it, so full disclosure, this was gifted to me to do an unboxing and a review of. So I've never used one of these little guys before. I've only used larger wheels. So here we go, unboxing this one. So as it came, it's a box within a box, and the little wheel looks like it's securely packed. It's got a lot of packing in there. And let's see how to pull this out. It's got a little a handle that is separate, and I think I'm gonna have to set this on the floor to get this out of here. Alrighty, so here we go. Now this has what appears to be a foot pedal, and it looks like it's designed to be used on a floor, which means that it's extremely low to the ground. I am used to using my wheel, my stand-up wheel, my Scut, which is a stand-up wheel, or my Pacifica, which I even have raised up on little blocks. So oh, and it looks like it even came with some basic little tools here. It looks like there's a trim tool in this box. Not too sure what all this is. Looks like there's some little, maybe a sponge here. Let's cut it open like this. Alright, so what do we have here? Okay, so it's got, oh, okay, so there's a little cutoff wire with looped handles. Kind of reminds me of the Mud Tools wires that have looped handles, but not nearly as heavy duty as theirs. It has some tools which, for lack of a better description, I'm going to call some of these, they just look like texturing tools. I'll show you what these look like. Okay. So there's a variety of ends on this side, and if I turn them over, a variety of ends on this side. None of which look like things that I would actually use on a wheel. And got two more little steel tools on the inside here with like rubber handles. Oh, three more. So these are a variety of trim tools that you could use for trimming. And then looks like a little sponge is the other thing. So you've got some tools, a little sponge. Let's see how this, what is going on here. These are all the instructions that I have. There's no visuals or anything. It says it's convenient to operate, good performance when preventing clay from splashing out, which I'm assuming they're just referring to the splash pan. It rotates smoothly with low noise. Oh, it does say rotation direction can be switched to clockwise or counterclockwise, so that's interesting. Okay, let's take this off. It's got, looks like feet. Okay. Alright. So, without pictures, you know, it looks like I can figure out how to get this all together. Well, this has a fascinating little bat. Look at this. The bat has pins on it that protrude into the wheel head. I have never seen anything like this before. That's interesting. So it is the opposite of what most wheels are that I have seen. Okay, so this doesn't look like it has any sort of a lock. How do we get this apart? Okay, so we just lift up this side over here. That slides off. So in that respect, it's a little like a Brent, where it has little nubbins, but then it just has little slots. Let's see. Okay, so it does have a plate right there, and this has to slide underneath that. This has to slide underneath this, and then we just overlap the splash fans. Okay, when you put it together. All right, so let's tip this right now, and we'll see about getting the little feet on. All right, so I'm going to tip this over. It's not very heavy, but I will say it's a little awkward, maybe, because of the large casing on it. I did want to mention that this wheel is provided by the NantFun brand on Amazon, and they do have some accessories for sale in their store. You can check that out on Amazon. I will put the link in the video description. There's something about this last hole that is a little bit more difficult to screw it in, and this has some pretty sharp edges on the foot, so I was using my towel to help protect my hand. All right, and then let's see. I'm going to turn this around. Let's check it out like this. So, okay, this, I'm assuming, is maybe if you were just going to use it on a table, maybe, but there's no threads on this. I am unclear what this is for. I'm assuming it's so you could use this as a hand sort of control, but I don't know. Maybe it goes in like this. There were no threads, but it looks like I was able to stick it in. So if I wanted to use it on a tabletop, I think that's for ease of using it as opposed to your foot. Okay, so let's all right, we're gonna go ahead and turn this on. I see right here it has the directional switch. So instead of it saying on and off, it says open and closed. So I'm assuming open is going to be on. Oh, and because I had the pedal pushed, it's already going. Now, I was told, you hear that thump, thump, thump. I was told through email that it might thump like this. So it said to just keep it on for a little bit, and when the belt warms up, it will stop. I'm assuming it's just a maybe a flat spot in the belt from sitting and shipping. I also wanted to mention that this blue model might be out of stock on Amazon, but again, if you look at the NantFun store, you can find others that they have. And there's a button here that says button. I'm assuming that might be for like a GFCI type thing where it will trip. I'm assuming maybe there's a TV fuse connected with that. I don't know. Now, if I want to reverse it in the opposite direction, because right now it's going clockwise, just because I know motors, I'm going to turn it off. If I put it there in the middle, that is stop or neutral. And then if I turn it forward, now it should go counterclockwise. There we go. And you can hear the thump, but again, I'm just going to let that kind of spin for a while and see if it works itself out. Okay, one thing that I will mention, when it says right here, it says turn on the earth leakage protector, and that's what this is. I'm not understanding exactly what an earth leakage protector is, but in my book, seems like it's a power switch. Power's on, and it's taking power. Power's off, and it's not taking power. Maybe is that earth leakage protection? And yeah, so that's it. So now I think the next step is we'll just give it a shot. We'll give it a whirl and try it out a little bit. All right, so I put it on the floor and I brought my stool over just to see how it would look. And this is way too low of a setup for me to be comfortable. Maybe someone who's really small would find this great. Someone who is maybe younger than I am would find this great. But at my age, I'm in my 50s. My back does not enjoy bending over like this for long amounts of time. So I definitely am going to be raising this. Now, my work table that I have in my studio that I had it on initially is much too high for that. So I need to find an in-between. So I have a little folding table here that I'm gonna set up and put it on that, and we're gonna see if that will work, and then maybe I could use it standing. Alrighty, I think that I have found what is a potential comfortable height for this now, because I do enjoy standing while throwing, and my rule of thumb is when I bend my elbows and my elbows are at my side, I like to be able to clear the splash pan a little bit. So this is just, it's right around the same height as my scut is. All right, so I'm going to get my apron on, I'll get some clay, and we'll give this a whirl. Alrighty, I'm all set. I have my water, I have my sponge that they sent me, and I even have one of the tools that they sent me. Now, this little bat, again, it has 3 little tabs or plugs that go into those holes. So I just want to make sure that they're down there tightly. And that looks like it is centered. Let's talk about the wheel for a second. It does feel centered, which is nice. Now, I'm going to just try putting my hand on it. Ooh, it doesn't seem to bog down, which is kind of nice. Let's go ahead and we're going to try throwing a hunk on here. Now, this clay that I have has been pugged, and it's, oops, it's not terribly stiff, because when I pug my clay, I usually pug it just a little on the soft side. I have a wrist problem right now, and that helps to alleviate some of the undue pressure that I might have. Let's try out the little sponge that they sent. I'm more of a fan of my natural sponges that I use. Okay, so for centering, okay, so it kind of wants to move. I should probably put something underneath the legs because I'm on this plastic table here. So if I push too much from the side, it's going to move it. But I can feel it. It does bog down a little bit. It gets a little bit slower. Go ahead and comb that up. All right. Now, it only came with 1 bat, so I can show a little bit later in the video what I would do if I don't have another bat to use and my bat is in use. So let's see. I'm just gonna make a planter here. I didn't even weigh this clay. I'm assuming it's somewhere maybe around 2.5 to 3 pounds. So as I open this up, I'm gonna leave a little bit of thickness at the base down there. Now, if you want to see any of my tutorials where I explain in great detail the throwing process, please check out my videos on my channel. I have some beginning wheel throwing videos that might be helpful for anyone who is a beginner. Like, it'll tell you where to start. So this was just a video that I wanted to do to kind of give a review on this one. So far, so good. It's doing well. I'm going to back off my speed a little bit. I do kind of like the little bar that I screwed to the foot pedal, which I'm assuming I did it right because, again, there were no threads in there. So when I put it in, I think I was actually making threads. So I'm assuming that there's going to be a lot of people that received these wheels around the holidays, and they're going to want to get some reviews, get some ideas of how they can utilize them, stuff like that. Well, I am trying to find, I can't go any slower than this. That looks like as slow as it can go, which is still a little fast in my opinion, because sometimes you just want to go a little bit slower. All right, now I'm going to try to utilize one of these tools that came with it. So right down here, this is where I'm going to just trim a little way at the base. Yeah, if I had one thing that I would say, it would be nice if it had even a slower speed. It's just like it goes from on to kind of a faster than I would necessarily want. Sometimes you just want slower than this. Okay. So that's a funny little tool. I mean, it seems to be doing it. I don't know how long it's going to last with that plastic handle, but that's working. Yeah, so when you've got a little wobble, sometimes you just want a tiny, super slow speed, and it goes right to that. So that's kind of fast. So that's the one thing that I noticed right away, that I'm a little concerned about the lack of control of the speed. Okay. All right, now to take this one off, I'm going to leave it on the bat because this clay is pretty darn soft. I'm going to just cut right through there. And I'll leave it on the bat, and I'll take the whole bat off. Now, I think if you have one of these with these pins, you'd have to be really careful not to inadvertently get that little bat pin caught and like rip it off, because that little pin, I have a feeling, could just snap if you're not careful. Now, let's talk about what you can do if you don't have any other bats for it. The simplest solution is to just throw directly on the wheel head, but you might have difficulty getting it off. Now, you could use things like pot lifts, or you could spread your fingers and your dry hands and you could pick it up. But I am going to show one method in this video of how you could attach a bat. And I will also have another follow-up video, so click the link here for a follow-up video and you can see other ways that you can throw without the bat. So maybe you have just a generic bat. That's a little large. I actually use these with my Outpost Pottery frame, but because that doesn't go on here, I'm going to try it in a different way. So I want to show you how you can attach a bat if you don't have bat pins. Okay, so I'm going to just take a little ball of clay here. This is probably bigger than I actually needed. It's a lot bigger than I actually needed. Let me just take some of that off. I wasn't thinking. I just grabbed a ball out of my bag. Okay, and we're going to just center this up. All right, so there we got a pad of clay, and I added a little texture to it. And I'm just going to stick this on. Now, I could use a round bat. It doesn't matter what shape the bat is, really. Okay, I'm just going to stick that on. And now I have a square bat. Now, what do you have to watch out for? You have to watch out for your pinky on that corner. So, as I do this, let's just do... Just going to squeeze that on. As I do this, I have to be really careful with my pinky on my left hand not to like get it caught out there. So I always go smaller than what the bat actually is. I'm not going to go to the edges of the bat there. Okay, so now I happen to have it on the slowest speed. Pretty much, let me just see. Yeah, that's the very slowest it can go. So as I do this, now it is slowing down a little bit as I'm centering. The one thing that I always tell people is those little teeny battery-powered children's wheels, they're not practical for any sort of throwing at all. These inexpensive wheels off of Amazon, this is my first experience with it, so I don't have a lot, to compare it to or talk about. I mean, they're inexpensive. I cannot speak to the longevity. It seems to be working. It's you can't compare it though to the performance of like a Scott, a Pacifico, or Brent, because I mean those are much heftier motors. So as I pull this out, okay, again, I'm being careful not to get too close to the edge down there. So I've been using this for, I don't know, 20 minutes, and I can still feel a thump as it goes around, which I'm assuming it's from the belt. It's not so jarring that it's throwing me off, but I can definitely still feel it. And they said if you feel a thump to just let it warm up, but I would think that this would be warmed up already. That is extremely fast. I can't ever imagine ever using the wheel at that speed. I'm going to slow it down as slow as I possibly can without it shutting off. All right, that's as slow as I can possibly get it. And honestly, it's still a little too fast for the final refinement that I need to do. Instead of using the little plastic tool that came with it, I opted to use my wood knife. All right. So once I've thrown my form and I want to take off the bat, I can take a wire, run it under the bat, in between the clay patty and the bat. And there we go. Now, I do have clay stuck to the bottom of this bat, so I'll have to clean that off later, but that's how you can stick a bat down. And then I can use that clay patty again to stick another one if I would like to. And look here for one of the videos popping up that shows you different ways that you can use makeshift bats if you don't have normal bats or you don't have bat pins on your wheel to hold a regular bat.